Luke Fox Steve Dangle, thanks so much for joining me here. I haven't told you guys what we're here yet for, but I've gathered you for a 1 full hour segment specifically to dive into the details on Michael Hutchinson once again signing with the Maple Leafs. Steve Dangle, are you excited?
Well,
That's about
there's
enough of that topic. I'm not going to talk about that at all. I just wanted to get you a little bit excited early on. We're going to talk about available free agents. We know that the Leafs have made a splash signing a handful of names. The Ottawa Senators, a lot of the Canadian teams got in on the action, but believe it or not, there are some big names out there still available. So I'll start with you, Steven, and then I'll get your input, Luke, on who to you is the most surprising name still available on the free agent market.
There's a couple right-handed defensemen who are available, and that's Travis Hamonic and Sami Vatanen. And what shocks me about the fact that they're still available, beyond the fact that I think they're pretty effective hockey players and still pretty good at the sport, is usually in free agency, the prerequisite for a right-handed defenseman to get signed is a pulse. And both of those guys are alive and kicking. And just the fact that no team around the NHL can either afford these guys or find a use for them is shocking to me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve, especially Travis Hamonic. And for him, I wonder if it's his preference to stay in Western Canada. And basically, none of the teams in Western Canada have any cap space to do it. So he's a head scratcher. I'm going to go with Mike Hoffman, just because I think anytime there's an 82-game season and he's healthy and he's getting his power play touches, he's 30 goals in the bank. And there's so many teams that say, we need goal scorers, we need pure goal scorers. And he is one. So from what I've heard, he's stuck on wanting 3 years. And the pool is just small of teams that can afford him and have a fit for him. So we're 3 weeks removed from the opening of free agency, and a 30-goal guy is just sitting out there. So he's the head scratcher for me.
He's got to get better advice then. He's got to get better advice. Buddy, Taylor Hall got 1 year. What makes you think you're getting 3? I don't think so, man.
You heard it here first from Steve Dangle. You got to get better advice.
Got to get better advice.
We'll get to that topic in just a few moments of why guys are sitting and why some of these names haven't signed yet. But first, let's talk about teams. I know some teams can't make moves. Some teams are up against the cap. So give us an idea of a few teams that you think are still hunting, are still out there looking to add pieces, who have the cap, who can make moves, and who you expect will be a landing spot, whether it's a right-handed defenseman or a sniper like Mike Hoffman.
Go ahead.
I'll throw out the Boston Bruins, just because they saw a guy like Torrey Krug go out the door. Zdeno Chara, there's still question mark about whether he's coming back. Their defense has taken a step back as it is. So I think they're in the mix, and they have some cap space now by letting Krug go. They want to figure out Jake DeBrusk, their RFA, first, and figure out his future. But I think the Bruins could be in the mix. The other team I keep wondering about is the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, they have to sign Pierre-Luc Dubois, but they haven't had a pure goal scorer since Artemi Panarin left. And I think they need a bit more of a punch that way. I know they're looking for offense, so I wonder if they could be a player.
Yeah, at the beginning of all this sort of draft week and free agency week, Jarmo Kekalainen really hit the ground running, and he was like a kid on pixie sticks, just in on everything, making this trade and that trade, and they're going to be in on more. And then it went eerily quiet with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I just feel like in this really unique free agency market, like I wouldn't be surprised to see one team get 3 or 4 of these guys, Columbus being one of them. Florida loves doing things in a super weird way. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in on this. Lou Lamoriello's far too quiet there on the island, and I don't think we're fully appreciating what a ridiculous monkey wrench the Tampa Bay Lightning could be, having, I think it's $3 million in cap space, something like that, and Eric Cernak, Anthony Cirelli, and Mikhail Sergachev still to sign. All of those guys could be making a cap hit of at least what the Tampa Bay Lightning have left. So I think teams might have their eyes on those RFAs and their availability, and then they'll turn to the UFAs as a secondary option. I don't know.
I'll throw the Flyers in too as a team that people should maybe watch out for because they haven't made a big ad yet. So
they love spending money. Love it. It's the Flyers' favorite thing.
Yeah. Who doesn't? I'll have two questions remaining, one for Luke and one for Steve. Luke, I'll ask you, just to riff on what Steve was talking about a few minutes ago. Guys that are sitting, is it by choice? Did they make a mistake and maybe not get a gauge on what the market was like? Or is it more on the player decision to choose? Or is it kind of somewhere in between?
I think it's somewhere in between. I think some of them are probably being too picky about term or price or location, right? Like some are at the end of their career and they want to pick a spot. But when you look around, and like Steve mentioned, Taylor Hall's signing a 1-year deal in Buffalo that has the longest playoff drought in the league. And you see a Hall of Famer like Joe Thornton taking less than $1 million. You got to readjust your asking price and your expectations for this season, so that there's this balance of finding security and trying to still get the best situation for yourself. I think there'll be a second wave of signing because deadlines spur action. And right now there's no deadline. There's no start of camp. And right now I think the GMs are focused on the RFAs and getting through arbitration season. And then we might see a kind of a second mini wave of guys signing.
Stop saying second wave.
Oh, sorry.
Makes me nervous.
Steve, you're supposed to wait your turn. I said I have a question for you as well. Stop interrupting.
Can't do that.
Here's my question. I have you here, so I have to do it. You have 30 seconds, no more. It can be Michael Hutchinson. It can be the Leaf signings. Go. Where are you at right now in your state of mind when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs? You are now officially on the clock for 30 seconds. Go.
I'm happy with what they've done. And for everyone who's not happy with what they've done, I would ask, what on earth was it that you expected them to do? We're in COVID. The cap is flat. You wanted them to get tougher. They went out and got some toughness. You wanted them to get some more experience. They got some more experience. They signed Joe Thornton. They're working on acquiring his beard back as well. Wayne Simmons. They're working on making dreams come true. So now that I have 8 seconds left, I'll just talk about Shawn McKenzie and his mustache. It's before Movember, and that's cheating, but I cheat all the time on my mustache, so good for you, Shawn.
It is not cheating. I'm preparing the growth. I'm preparing the area. I will shave it. Don't make accusations, Steve Dangle. Thank you. Thank you, Luke Fox. That was fun. Guys, thanks for joining me.